3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hello and welcome back to week 2 of the playoffs with the Texas Private School Podcast. As always, I am Wes Tolleson, 1/3 of your hosting crew, joining you from College Station, Texas, where Walker Lott also resides. Ryan Schroeder calls in from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Guys, it seems like our backgrounds are slightly different. Walker Lott, is there any reason for the goose?
No, this was just a photo I found on my camera roll, and I thought it was funny. So,
I also agree.
also, my voice sounds a little rough. I'm under the weather right now, so this is my Jordan flu game on the episode. So, I hope a great performance.
I feel that. I'm trailing whatever sickness you have by about 2 days, so I'm starting to get sick. That's probably going to make for a really fun time come Friday and Saturday when we're covering 2 games back to back. But I'll figure it out. As for my background, this is just a picture I like of one unnamed player tackling another unnamed player. It's just I just found this picture on the internet and I like it. Ryan Schroeder, you appear to be a member of the Cypress Christian football team. You have any explanation for your background?
Yeah, it's like me and all my best friends, dude. I'm really close with the people at Cypress Christian, so I just wanted to show a ton of support to them. This year I am a ride or die for Cypress Christian, and yeah, we'll talk more about it later. But these are my homies for life, dude. So I just want to show some respect.
I love it. One of the more random and off the wall intros we've had in a long time. But now I guess we'll see how many people actually watch these intros and how many people actually comment on what's going on. Moving into the first segment, as always, we're going to recap last week's pick record. I will get my background off in a second when y'all start talking, but I went 14-6, the worst record on the podcast. Ryan went 15-5, the second worst. Walker, I think maybe for the first time the entire year, wins the weekly pick record, going 16-4. As for your aggregates, I am still in the lead, 145-61. Ryan tells me at 142-64. Walker, sadly, is still about 15 games behind the lead at 130-76. Walker, although you're still in last in the aggregate, you led last week. You get the last word. Your thoughts? Okay, you went 5-0 in games of the week. I will let you have your few seconds to gloat.
5-0 the games of the week. I don't think anyone else has done that. They probably have, but in my reality, they haven't. I'm the best there is at what I do. Don't call it a comeback. We're on the right direction. We're going to pass Wes. Wes is going to just get it absolutely wrong for the rest of the weeks. Thank you. Thank you, Bishop Lynch, for proving me right. I appreciate y'all. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, great job, guys.
Ryan Schroeder, not the best week from the two of us. You did better than I did. Okay, well, I'm glad you're showing me the trophy I will have here in like little less than a month. But you have any comments on this week's pick record?
Nah, man, I'm actually about to I only need 3 games. I only need 3 games. So when I start picking heavy underdogs to win, then you're not gonna know what's coming. I still don't know what the words on this means. If anyone can't see that,
Hoc est vanitas. Again, it's an old Latin affirmation.
Yeah, I don't know what that means still. So maybe I don't want it. Maybe this is like curse, but dude, this is so off the rails. I don't even know. Are we keeping this in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ryan Schroeder, thank you for your thoughts on the pick records. Now we will move in to talking about our last week's matchup, starting with the scoreboard powered by TXPS Media and also Ryan Schroeder. So as for the games that went on last week, some games we're going to touch on. Grace Prep beat Covenant by 10, although I'll recap that here in a second. But in terms of games that we're not going to recap, Fort Bend Christian beats Hyde Park 69-0. They put up 69 in the first half. That begs the question, is Fort Bend's offense starting to click? And is this going to be the Fort Bend team that we thought they would be in the preseason? We'll answer those questions later in the episode when we preview the Fort Bend Christian game. Regents gets a big win over Lutheran South. Second Baptist wins the slop bowl, as someone described it, of 2020, getting a 15-0 win against St. Michael's, ending St. Michael's season in the first round. The Woodlands Christian beat St. Joseph 28-21. That will certainly be discussed at about the midpoint of the episode. And in terms of other games I want to hit on, that is mostly it. Midland Christian ends Grace's season in Midland 37-7. Breaks my heart, but my Cougars had a fantastic season coming off of a pretty abysmal year the year prior. Walker Lott, Ryan Schroeder, Walker first. Anything stick out to you from the scoreboard?
I think the Brownsville game, that was a win that we all thought that was going to happen, right? And the Brownsville winning that game. So I think it kind of shows, just like we will talk about later, how, the District 1 is better than District 2. I think District 4 in the South is better than District 3, without a doubt. I think the only team that made it out of the first round, right, was Regents. Everything else was gone. Geneva? No, Geneva's Division 3. So, I think St. Michael's lost, St. Joseph lost, and I want to say Hyde Park also lost. So all three South schools in District 3 all move out, and District 4 reigns supreme. So it's kind of interesting to see. We always talked about they have a lot of guys in that district, but none of them really challenge Regents, and it kind of makes sense because that district is just kind of lesser. So.
Definitely so. Ryan Schroeder, what sticks out to you from the TXPS Media football scoreboard?
Yeah, I sit here and think to myself that, I will go undefeated one of these weeks in the pick record, but at this point, I think it's becoming very slim. I look at something
has before, so
that's not true. I went undefeated last year. That's 100% true. You can go fact check it. I don't know which week it was, but you can go fact check that. Yeah, honestly, a game that I almost picked Concordia. I almost picked Concordia over Nolan, and I don't know why. Everybody can make fun of me for that, but Nolan, I think Nolan's like 1-9, something like that. And I was like, 1-9, and so then I did a little bit of research for a second and realized that they have literally come so close to winning every game. And then once they have an opponent that's outside of the north of Division 1, they just smack them. So I think that's what you can realize is just the difference between the North and the South in Division 1. However, somewhere where the North and the South is pretty much getting even at this point is like, you're talking about the North and the South in D2. I don't know. There's been a lot of disrespect on the South in D2. I feel like I've heard it from people. And yeah, because when Regents comes in and is going to put up a fight on this Liberty / whatever you call the top of D2, they're going to show that they're a good team. Midland or Liberty will have to face the hard hitting of Austin Regents eventually. So that was a little tangent, but yeah, and we'll go into Division 3 later, but I have some thoughts about Division 3, which is just like the North looks like Dallas Christian and TCS Lubbock are going to be like having a hard fought battle in that semifinal game. And then the South whoever comes out of the South, I mean, you're losing in the state championship. I'm sorry. Is that rude to say? I don't know. I think it's easy to say at this point.
Well, you said a player was going to take off another player's head at one point in this season. So I think we've eclipsed whatever the rudeness standards.
All I have to say is SBC people stop listening after their season ends. So that's, actually not true. I don't know why I said that, but I just think that anybody that was on that Michael Bell side of that situation that thinks that I never said that. I never said that.
Okay. Anyways, that being said, nice. Thanks, Walker. I enjoyed that. I'm now going to cut my background.
Anyways, continue.
Anyways, now we're going to roll straight into our games of the week from last week, starting with Grace Prep versus Covenant. Jalen Talton continues his fantastic senior campaign, throwing for 330 yards and 4 total touchdowns as Grace Prep best Covenant 34-24. Two Lions eclipse the century mark receiving as Lehue goes for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Mathis racks in an impressive 173 yards. Walker, Ryan, both of y'all picked Grace Prep to win. I picked Covenant. I don't regret my decision. I thought it was good based on the analysis. You win some, you lose some. But Talton, Mathis, and Lehue, these are 3 guys we've talked about for Grace Prep all year. Walker, your thought on them getting it done in round 1?
Yeah, Covenant's a really good squad. They've proven a lot of people wrong this year, including us, of how good this squad actually is. But Grace Prep is a really good squad, and They bounce back from a rough loss to Lake Country at home and come out with a win round 1 of playoffs. And it's exciting to see how they do. I believe they played TCS Lubbock this week, so that's going to be a good rematch game for a close game that Wes was actually up in West Texas. As long as that offense goes for with Jalen Tolleson and company, you can always count them into a lot of close games. So as long as that offense keeps going like it should be, you can never count those Lions out.
Definitely not. Ryan Schroeder, your thoughts on the contest?
Yeah, honestly, I like that you picked Dallas Covenant, honestly, because they had a great year this year. And I actually kind of want to show a little bit of support to them because, 8-1, now you finish your season. Only loss being to Dallas Christian. And then obviously you play Grace Prep in the playoffs. But what a great regular season. Absolute amazing in district. As amazing as you could be besides Dallas Christian. So yeah, big shout out to Dallas Covenant. They had a great year this year. And honestly, I was worried that they were going to defeat Grace Prep in this game. The only reason why I picked Grace Prep was because of the offensive power that they have in these three guys, Mathis, Leahy, and Talton. So all I have to say is this Grace Prep team is talented. The question then becomes, can three guys on this offense in Talton, Leahy, and Mathis, can they overpower the one guy of Marcus Ramon Edwards? And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's a question that has to be asked, but 1 versus 3 on the offensive sides of the ball, we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting. We will certainly see when we preview the Grace Prep TCS game here in a short while. Moving into game number 2 to recap, Fort Worth All Saints versus Grapevine Faith. Javont Williams explodes for 170 yards and a touchdown as All Saints' offense pushes them past Faith 45-30. Jalen Sprigg throws for 200 and Andre Minifield adds 100 on the ground as it looks like All Saints could be morphing into the team that we expected preseason. Cross and Barley had solid games for Faith, but a complete stifling of the Lions' rushing attack allows for All Saints to take the victory here. Guys, just another instance where D1 trumps D2, or District 1, long day. District 1 trumps District 2 in Division 2. Walker, you were the one that predicted all this happening. Your thoughts on All Saints getting a win over Faith in round 1?
That's a big win for Fort Worth All Saints. Grapevine Faith is not a team to slouch at. They're a really good squad. Chase Cross over there. He's been a guy who's been at the helm for 3 years now, I believe, something like that. And he's proved why he's one of the better quarterbacks in TAPS Division 2 every single year. Parker Barley is a really good player. They had Jay Norris and company, Campbell Stites. They have a really good squad, and that's a big win for Fort Worth All Saints, putting up 45 on them too. It's going to be interesting to see because I believe Fort Worth now has Liberty, and Argyle's a really good team. But if you have All Saints, I think All Saints still has the most talent out of anyone in that district. But they have to put it together and play it week in, week out, and use that talent to the best of their ability. And they haven't really done that yet. But after putting up 45 on a good Grapevine Faith team, like you said, it could be the way they're going right now. They finally have that cohesive team, so they could be a very interesting game this week.
Definitely so. It's very interesting to me that we have two teams in Fort Bend and All Saints that had really high expectations preseason, underperformed relative to those expectations early, but are now starting to get rolling and look a lot more like the teams we expected before the season started. I'm really excited to see how both of those teams progress as playoffs go on. My voice is failing. Ryan Schroeder, save me. Your thoughts on All Saints versus Faith?
So, from what I can understand, is I picked Grapevine Faith here and I lost. Wasn't a good loss and by any means. I'm not happy about it. I know this Fort Worth All Saints team is good. However, I had more faith in this district, and this whole argument I've been making this entire season, how that this district was something special. They aren't. They weren't something special. So I apologize. Everybody that was hating on that district all year long, you're correct. You are correct. Because
to be fair, really quickly, I will say in your defense, and plus I was on this argument too, so it's covering my tail. I don't think we ever said it was going to be special, just maybe better than expected, and even better than expected was.
But they weren't. They weren't.
Yeah, no, they weren't. We were wrong.
No, they were not better than expected. No, I mean, all these teams beat up on each other in the district play, and then they all get shelled basically the first time they play someone from the opposite.
Oh, Grace got screwed.
Yeah, no,
that was a ref job.
No,
it was a ref job.
So, but yeah, with all that being said, though, I just wanted to be known that, like, Grapevine Faith was honestly my most confident one, and they put up a pretty good battle against Fort Worth All Saints. I just think in this scenario, it's like Fort Worth All Saints is like we said, is turning out to be the team that we predicted them to be preseason. And yeah, once they start playing teams from their own, all these this whole district's gonna have to start playing each other again now, which is just gonna cause for more mayhem. But we'll see, man. But yeah, I will have to say that I was 100% wrong. Me and you were 100% wrong, Wes. That district was no good this year.
Listen, man, I gotta ride for my own. I think I've made that pretty clear. I'm gonna ride for my boys, and if I'm wrong every once in a while, so be it. At least I'm loyal. Moving on into, I don't escape it. Actually, it's another District 1 versus District 2 matchup, one that I got wrong. Fort Worth Christian versus Bishop Dunn. And this was not just a case where Fort Worth Christian just outclassed Dunn. Dunn should have won this game and didn't. Here's what happened. Hogan Nelson throws for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns as Fort Worth Christian mounts an immaculate comeback after being down 20 points with 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Landon Spencer goes over 100 yards rushing, and Bryce Bradley gets a pair of touchdowns. As for receiving, Addison Querton grabs 2 touchdowns and Jacob Trimble adds 2 more, one coming off of an 80-yard kickoff return. Add in sacks for Alex Harrelson and Parker Norton, and the Cardinals pull this one out of the fire. Walker, we were texting back and forth. I was at a formal in Waco. We were texting back and forth in the group message. I obviously can't follow the games, but like I see Dunn's up 27-7 in the third quarter. I'm like, sick. I look like a genius. I picked the quote unquote upset. District 2, you're going to be wrong. One of the District 2 teams is going to win. All of a sudden I get another text, I think from Jack, being like, Dunn lost. I was like, what the? I was incredibly angry and no one around me knew why. Your thoughts on the game.
It's a big win for Fort Worth Christian coming back from 20 unanswered. It kind of proves that the senior leadership, the coaching is still there. And that's a big win for them. Bishop Dunn is not a team to slouch. And, Bishop Dunn is a good team. They had a great year, and they came in with a great game plan that ultimately was winning them the game. But at the end of the day, that 20 unanswered points beats them at the end of it. That's a big win for Fort Worth Christian, and sometimes experience wins, and Bishop Dunn did not maybe have that playoff experience and like some of these Fort Worth Christian guys did, and that maybe came to play in this one. Bishop Dunn is on the rise, no doubt. One district this year, big win for them of district, but they still are young, and a lot of those guys don't have the playoff experience some of these like Trimble and Green and others have after going a couple of rounds deep every year. So big win for them. It's going to be interesting to see how this program does next year. You lose Jeremiah Horn, Shannon King, and others, but they have a lot of young underclassmen prospects that are on the rise next year. It's going to be interesting to see if Dunn, does really good next year and uses this as a stepping stone to being back to where we thought Dunn was while in the past. So, but big win for Fort Worth Christian. Excited to see how they do next week.
Walker, we're gonna have to put a word count on you. I can't have you dying halfway through the episode here. You're a vital part of this machine. We can't have one of the wheels fall off. Ryan Schroeder, Fort Worth Christian, pulls this out of the fire against Bishop Dunn. Your thoughts on the contest?
Bishop Dunn, man. I mean, it just goes into this whole scenario. Like I heard from people that Bishop Dunn, like if it was to happen to anybody, it would have happened to Bishop Dunn. It's just like it stinks because like this team is so talented and has so much
Firepower,
potential has so much potential, but struggles in this type of situation, lets up that many touchdowns in a row. But shout out to obviously Hogan Nelson had a good game, throwing for 200 yards, but guy stepped up on the rushing side, 17 carries, led the team in carries by a good amount. Was Landon Spencer, the 2024, had over 100 yards. Honestly, a really good game for him, and someone to look out for on a really senior heavy team. Obviously, Addison Querton, I think I'm saying that right, caught both the touchdowns and had the most yards. Obviously, Jacob Trimble doing his part, but Luke Anderson, only got 4 carries in this game. Looks like
I think he was banged up a little bit.
I think he was too, because I don't see him really even on the defensive side at all. So yeah, other guys had to step up in this game. Shout out to the defensive senior Alex Harrelson. He had 11 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Just other guys stepping up in this game, right? when you needed it most. A very senior heavy lineup. And you need the guys to step up. Obviously, they're ran by a sophomore quarterback, but besides that, all the main targets: Jordan Green, Jacob Trimble, Addison Kirtone, Bryce Bradley is a junior, but Caleb Franklin, all those guys are all seniors. So yeah, very impressive game by Fort Christian, and if it was to happen to anybody, happen to Bishop Dunn. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not trying to rag on a team. Obviously, they proved me wrong in the district championship against Faith, but that was the knock on them all year, that they're undisciplined, that they shot themselves in the foot a lot, and that's really what has to happen for you to give up, 20 unanswered in that short of a time frame. But you do have to give flowers. Bishop Dunn had a heck of a season, an incredible improvement from years prior, and hopefully they're moving back towards the Dunn of hold. Moving on into the next game, we're going to recap a game that I was at, Bishop Lynch versus Central Catholic. Lynch's offense tames the buttons in this one, leading the Friars to a 41-21 victory. Between the likes of freshman quarterback Legend Howell, wide receiver Cooper Alford, running backs Godswill Giadolor, and JP Loxamana, I think I said that right, and defensive end John Paul Savant, the Friars look better than they have all season, pulling off the upset against Central. As for Central, sophomore quarterback Garrett Tyser looked impressive on the ground in his first career start, and Braden Flowers demonstrated why he is a D1 prospect. But too many self-inflicted wounds prevented the Buttons from getting it done here. Central Catholic with a big, I don't think any of us expected a 20-point win out of Central Catholic. Out of Bishop Lynch. Walker, you were the only person on the podcast that picked Lynch to win. Your thoughts on them getting it done here?
Yeah, we saw it last year where Lynch kind of went on this kind of winning streak through the South in playoffs with behind their running back of theirs. I can't remember, Isaiah Schmetke. Mm-hmm. But that was, they kind of saw how the North was always better than the South, and we kind of thought that for a while. And especially in Division I. I would like to Legend Howell. I said on the pod, and he quoted me saying, this is going to be the game that shows his rise to greatness in private school football and in the state of Texas. And it absolutely was. Putting 41 on a good defensive side, like Central Catholic, is a big win for him. I'm excited to see how he does. I saw some of the throws, and they were on the money, and they were really good balls. And he definitely has the arm talent for the future. Cooper Alford was kind of the quarterback last year, but, kind of being the selfless leader and, going to receiver and just being able to be that guy for Legend is very impressive. Love God's will. And I'm really happy you got to saw John Paul Savant. I thought he was a pretty good player, and I'm excited that you agree with me there. Central, I'm happy they started Garrett Tyser. Ryan Perez, I guess, has struggled a little bit this year, so moving to him was very, very smart. Especially in the playoffs. And I think having and from the sounds of it, right, he played pretty well. So they might have a quarterback in his for the future. So it's going to be interesting to see how Central does. You finally lose another D1 prospect in Braden Flowers after losing 4 the year before. Who was going to have to step up for Central to be the Central of old for these past couple of years? Is it going to be kind of a rebuilding time, or is it going to be reloading time? And that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that is the question, is what happens to Central between now and the start of next season. We will have an answer to that, as the offseason progresses. Ryan Schroeder, Lynch gets a big 20-point win over Central here in the spot. Your thoughts on the contest?
Honestly, I was wrong about this game by a large margin, and I think I can say that about almost a lot of games this week. But yeah, what a heck of a win for Central Catholic, or for Bishop Lynch. The Friars did what they set out to do, and it kind of once again proves that this North in D1 is solid. Now, this is the year where the South in D1 is becoming better and better and better. But yeah, with Nolan Catholic, 1-8 Nolan Catholic, or whatever they were, 1-9 Nolan Catholic being Concordia, and a Bishop Lynch team that probably didn't have many more wins than that, beating Central Catholic first round. I don't know if it's the fact that they're playing all these tough teams in their district and it's toughing them up or whatever, but by the time they get to playoffs and they play the South, these teams know how to do it. They know how to play teams, because they've already had to face some of the hardest in all of private school, and that being Prestonwood and Parish. So
yeah, you're completely right. I think it's a really good point, is that if they don't get too banged up during those games are going to give them experience enough that when they play teams that have played worse teams in district, they're going to have a leg up because they've had much more competition up to that point. But that's all for that game. Moving on to the last game, we're going to recap Weatherford Christian versus Sacred Heart. And after a lot of hype building through the beginning of the season, Weatherford Christian's season ends here at the hands of Sacred Heart, 48-16. But Walker, Sacred Heart, big win. We all expected this to happen. You know, Nathan Hess, Gus Ganson, Eli Hess, Ryan Swarzinski, all great players for Sacred Heart. Your thoughts on them ending Weatherford's season here?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big win for them. You know, even though with all the drama that's going on at Weatherford this year, that's a big win over a good squad. Hunter McCoy is going to come back next year, and it's going to be exciting to see what is Weatherford next year. But Sacred Heart's not worried about next year. They're not worried about this year. And then, you know, they were there last year. They want to get back to the state championship again. Ryan Swarzinski, Gus Ganson, and Nathan Hesse want to get back there. They're scoring a lot of points, and they need to again and again and again. They play Northland with a good Stonewalker this week. It's exciting to see if they can get back to the semis. It's going to be interesting to watch. Excited.
I am as well. Ryan Schroeder, big win for Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart looks poised to match up with Lubbock Christian here soon. Your thoughts on the contest?
Yeah, I mean, only lost this season, Lubbock Christian by 6 points. They want that game back. They want that game back so bad. And you can feel it. They have to get through Northland Christian, which out of all the D4 teams they played this year, they haven't faced Northland yet, which is funny. They did play Weatherford earlier in the year, and the game was much closer than that. But yeah, I mean, you finally faced Northland. There's no previous history of what's happened this year. And can the 10-1 Sacred Heart team best Stonewalker with Ryan Swarzinski? We'll see.
My guess for that game would be yes, but that is not an official pick yet. I still have time to alter that if necessary. But that will conclude all of our previews or all of our reviews from the previous week, excuse me. And now, before we get into our other news segment, a word from our sponsor.
This show is sponsored by ScoreVision. Are you looking to upgrade your scoreboards? ScoreVision is a cloud-based, user-friendly software with an affordable suite of tools so you can keep score, boost athlete exposure, increase fan engagement, and enhance your game day experience. Head over to www.scorevision.com for more information. ScoreVision. Experience the game, power the athlete.
And thank you to ScoreVision for sponsoring this episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. Okay, so before we get into the spreads here, we had a little bit of drama take place over the weekend via Instagram and Twitter. First I'll start with Brook Hill. Brook Hill beat I don't even remember who did Brook Hill beat.
Brook Hill beat Lake Country by
Brook
21.
Hill did beat Lake Country. I made the meme and everything, and I forgot what the game was.
No, you didn't make it. The whatever the no context guy.
Yeah,
made
no
it.
context.
Yeah, no. I made it and I gave it to no context.
Okay.
No, I'm taking credit for that meme. I thought that was very well done. But yeah, I had a ton of Brook Hill kids in the podcast DMs. I mean, congratulations. Your season ends tomorrow when this episode comes out. Great year. I'm not trying to dog on Brook Hill. I ride for East Texas as a whole. You know, I hated Brook Hill more than I hated anything else when I played. I don't know anyone at Brook Hill anymore. I have no reason to dislike any of you, but the facts of the matter are you're going to lose to Dallas Christian. So congratulations on the win of the upset against Lake Country. You had a great season. It will end on Friday. That's all I have to say regarding that. I just thought the Brook Hill drama was funny. Some more interesting drama was what happened when the Woodlands Christian Academy beat Brownsville St. Joe's on Saturday. I'm gonna think about this. I need to figure out how I'm going to word this, but after I had some kid call me basically a slur before the game even started. Obviously, we're retaining anonymity here. I'm not putting any kid on blast, but I mean, some wild stuff was said to me from TWCA kids even before this game started. And they beat Brownsville St. Joe's. And I had a bunch of TWCA kids in my mention saying some just really wild, not just like most of the time when we pick against teams and they win, they're like, oh, y'all were wrong, haha. They're like, ha ha ha, clown town, and it's funny and it's stuff that we can roll with. These kids were like cussing us like dogs, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, because this has never happened before. But this is what I'll say regarding the Woodlands Christian Academy. They're acting like this because they have never won anything before. They haven't won anything since they've been in Division 3. They have done nothing in Division 2. They win one playoff game and they go absolutely ballistic for no reason. Teams like DC don't do this. Teams like Parish don't do this. Teams like Regents don't do this. I mean, I don't blame you, because if I hadn't won anything ever either, I would react the same way. No shade, no tea. TWCA, good luck this coming week. I'm going to assume that neither of you have anything significant to say on this issue.
I just want to see if they play. They play Second Baptist. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I have nothing to say.
I'm good. I'm good.
Moving on. Into the two spreads that we're going to cover. We always ask, does Parish cover the spread and does DC cover the spread? Because it's honestly not even worth picking their games, because they are so much better than everyone in their respective divisions. As for Parish is a 34.5 favorite against Bishop Lynch this Saturday at Globe Life Field. Walker Lott, does Parish cover a 34.5 point spread against Bishop Lynch?
Yes.
Rationale?
More talent and good offensive coaching and great defensive coaching. More Division 1 talent.
Good football team.
Yeah, good football team.
Well, I will say they
it was like 40 something to 7 or something last time.
It was 44 to nothing in the first contest. So actually that does make sense. So Walker takes Parish to cover. Ryan Schroeder, if anyone on this podcast is going to take Parish to not cover, it would be you. Your thoughts on a 34.5 point spread?
Never again. Parish to cover. Parish to cover 30. And yeah, and if I go to that game, oh my gosh, best believe I'll silently be cheering for Parish to cover that.
Yeah, probably smart. I will also take Parish to cover. I don't see a situation where Lynch gets within 40, but crazier things have happened. Lynch has proven me wrong once in the last week, and they will be poised to do it again this Saturday. Moving on. As for Dallas Christian and Brook Hill, Dallas Christian is a 28.5 point favorite against Brook Hill. It's a neutral site game. I don't know where the game is being played, but it's at neither home field. And you can assume it's probably about halfway between Bullard, Texas and Dallas. Walker Lott, does Dallas Christian cover a 28.5 point spread against Brook Hill?
Yes.
Fair. No analysis needed. Ryan Schroeder, 28.5 points. Does Dallas Christian cover?
Yeah, tack on another touchdown. I'll do 35. I'll take the alternate spread.
Fair. I think Dallas Christian covers a 48 point spread in this game. No offense, Brook Hill, but DC.
Hey, when they cover that, bro, they're going crazy.
They should. What did I say? 48 points? Yeah. DC, 48 points. Yeah. Okay, moving on into our last little segment. I'm going to give Walker Lott his flowers before we get into games of the week. I just literally titled this on the script, Walker was right. All Division 2, District 2 teams lost in the first round. Walker Lott, we're trying to preserve your voice as much as possible here, but very briefly, you were right. Your thoughts on you being the most intelligent mind in private school football.
My peg record doesn't show it, but I am the most intelligent mind in private school football. Never forget it. All jokes, but I thought the district talent in District 1 was much better. We called it the District of Doom since when it was first announced, for a reason. And I honestly think SCS getting left out would probably be the first place team in District 2. That's what I honestly think. That District 1 is very, very good. They battled a lot, and that you had to be kind of perfect a lot of those games to be the state champion or district champion, and that's what Liberty was most of the weeks. But yeah, I don't think it's District 2 is bad. I think it's just they were better. And I think Bishop Dunn, I think Grace even, I think Grapevine Faith are really solid squads, but the talent is just too much in that district. What they should have done, honestly, is like move like an Argyle Liberty to District 1 or District 2. And because that's, they're up by grapevine still. So, kind of move it up there. And so have kind of just spread out the talent a little bit more. But, it is what it is. Big district. And, my prediction was correct.
Yes, it was. No more analysis needed on the subject. Again, your prediction wouldn't have been correct if Grace hadn't gotten jobbed by the refs in Midland, but it is how it goes.
We didn't even pick that game because we knew what the final score was going to be.
Hey, I like how that was the one game we picked every single playoff game in tabs, and that's the one game we didn't pick. And I'm very thankful because I literally told both of you I would have picked Grace. I would have picked Grace if it was on the sheet, and thankfully I avoided a loss by doing that.
Here's the thing: if our teams don't play, your team doesn't get any coverage either. All right.
No, I forget. I'm the only member of the podcast whose team made the playoffs.
This is true. This is true.
We're gonna ignore. I came out of well, actually, your team. Walker can say what he wants. Your team came out of District 2 as well and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, we're the one team. Yeah, let's be done.
Yeah,
with
the
that.
one team.
Legacy didn't deserve any more coverage. So,
emergency podcast coming soon. Moving on into our 5 games of the week for this episode. The first being Fort Worth Christian versus Midland. Midland is a 14.5-point favorite. The second round of the playoffs will constitute the second meeting between these two squads, where Midland won the first contest 41-22. That game saw a rushing explosion by the Mustangs, led by senior quarterback Blake Pruitt, who had 3 total touchdowns and 134 yards rushing. Pruitt has maintained this high level of output, adding 175 and 3 touchdowns on the ground against Grace in round 1. Fort Worth Christian, however, has weapons of their own, with Nelson, Spencer, Bradley, Anderson, Trimble, and Querton posing a significant threat to the stout Mustangs defense. I think Fort Worth Christian has improved since the last time these teams have met and stifled a powerful rushing attack that Dunn provided last week. However, I cannot bet against Midland Christian in this spot. I think they're too tough. They're too gritty. I think West Texas just put something in the water that breeds just large, tough individuals. Give me Midland Christian in this game. Don't know if they cover the spread, but I think they win. Walker Lott, your thoughts?
I think it's closer than 14 for sure. I think this is going to be a dogfight. But in dogfights, the tougher team comes out on top. And I think those West Texas boys just have that hard hat mentality. You can always get four quarters out of Midland Christian. You don't have the giant name of River Rodriguez that carried them last year. It's a lot of guys who put their head down and work as a team and as a unit. And sometimes you just need that in a team. Don't get me wrong, Elijah Winham. I think Joshua Cobb on the offensive line. I like Zandon King. I like a lot of the guys on the squad, and they're a really good squad. Blake Pruitt has done a really good effort for them. But I think this is just a team of guys that really are just lock and loaded, play for each other, and are just that gritty West Texas, just tough team. And so because of that, get me Midland Christian.
Ryan Schroeder, the podcast is 2-0 on Midland Christian. Are you going to disrupt the flow?
Here's the thing. If this game, because I'm a big Fort Worth Christian fan, and if that isn't already apparent by the amount of love I gave them earlier in this episode, then just understand that. However, I did not know where this game was going to be played. It's going to be played in Brownwood, Texas, which last time Fort Worth Christian played against Midland, they played at Midland, a long drive, and overall just a painstakingly long trip. But Midland, and we've had coaches confirm bus fatigue, have we not? Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? So Midland Christian is a team that knows how to handle bus fatigue. Like they're like the Hawaii of the college football scene. They travel everywhere, but every time people travel to them, they still get beat. No, I'm just kidding. No, Midland Christian is that team. They know how to travel. Brownwood's not close to either Fort Worth, nor really is it really that close to Midland either.
Yeah, it's a weird south of Abilene in the middle of them.
It's weird, so
quick trivia. Sorry, I'll let you continue, Ryan. Does anyone know what the college is in Brownwood?
Howard Payne. Wait, no.
Stingham, baby. Howard Payne.
Oh, it is Howard Payne. Yeah. Did you go to one of the Howard Payne camps?
I went on a visit actually to Howard Payne back in the day. So
I went on I went to one of their camps in East Texas and then realized, never mind. Ryan Schroeder, continue.
All I'm gonna say is Fourth Christian has to travel once again. Now it's not as far as Midland, but it's still gonna be a travel. And I just think they don't do well on the road when it's outside the DFW area. So give me Midland Christian. They won by 19 the first time. I have them here again.
I think that's a smart decision. Hopefully Fourth Christian does not win, because then we're gonna have another situation on our hands
Clown
like
Town?
we did. No, it might be worse than Clown Town. Moving on into the second game, we're going to preview another rematch. Trinity Christian Lubbock versus Grace Prep. Trinity Christian is a 21.5-point favorite in this one. As I mentioned, in another rematch that saw Trinity Christian take the inaugural 42-33, a red-hot Grace Prep offense will take another crack at Marcus Ramon Edwards and the tough Trinity Lions. Trinity blanked McKinney Christian 42-0 in their playoff opener, whereas Grace Prep grinded out a 34-24 win over a tough Covenant squad. Listen, we've raved about the Grace Prep passing attack before, and the Trinity Christian defense will have to be cognizant of Talton, Lehue, Mathis, and Broadway. But this TCS team is as gritty as I've seen, and I think Marcus Ramon Edwards will be the best player on the field. Add in contributions from Eli Reeves, Hunter Maston, and Zach Anthony, and I like TCS to win the rematch as well. Walker Lott, your thoughts on the contest?
I'm going to go TCS Lubbock in this one. I think Marcus Ramon Edwards has a mentality this year to show he is the best player in all of TAPS Division III, and he is going to show and get back to the state championship this year, and their path is Grace Prep. I think Grace Prep's a really solid team, and I think it's 21-point favorite. I don't think they covered that. I think it's probably a 7-point game. I think this is going to be a close one. I think for how much playoff experience Jalen Talton has, he has a lot of experience. He's really good football IQ quarterback. He knows what to do to win. But I think Marcus Ramon Edwards and company of Eli Reeves, Masson, and Anthony just will themselves to win this one. I think it's I think it's going to be one of the game for the ages, but give me TCS Lubbock.
I would have to agree. I think it'll be close as well. Ryan Schroeder, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, this is another game where last time they played, it was like a 9-point game, right? But you said it won't be close. You said it will be close. I actually would argue that TCS Lubbock runs away with this a little bit. I think, maybe 3 touchdowns is what I'd put on it. They are playing in Sweetwater, dude. I don't know these cities, dude. I'm from Texas, but I'm not like from Texas. Like, like I don't know all these cities off the back of my hand. Wherever that is,
off the top of your head, off the back of your head.
It's like right outside Abilene.
Sweet.
Yeah, you know what? But all I have to say is just TCS Lubbock in this game. I feel like it's a little bit different. They're 6-5 Grace Prep. I think TCS Lubbock shows that there's more than 9 points this time. Give me them we'll go 3 touchdowns. TCS Lubbock by 3 touchdowns.
I mean, my reaction is just that.
Yeah, sorry, Talton, Mathis, and Lehue. I apologize, and the rest of that team.
I do agree that TCS wins. I do think it's close. I saw the inaugural match between these two teams. I think it stays close. I didn't think TCS Lubbock, they looked better. I didn't think they looked head and shoulders better, but I think they win here. I think that rushing attack it wears down on the Grace Prep defense. Moving on into the third to final game we're going to cover, Bay Area versus Holy Cross. There is, for some reason, no spread for this game. Massey Ratings has been failing me in recent weeks. I'm not very happy about it, but it is what it is. This Saturday, the 9-2 Broncos will face off against the 8-1 Knights. Bay Area is coming off of a 35-14 win against New Braunfels JP2, following a 47-0 drumming at the hands of Cypress Christian. The Knights of Holy Cross enter the contest on the heels of a 28-0 win over Geneva Burney. Senior running back Joe Angel Perez, sophomore quarterback Gibby Alvarado, and senior athlete Rudy Rodriguez make up the core of this talented Holy Cross squad and will be a tough matchup for the Broncos. However, Bay Area has done a good job of stifling the run this season, so it will be interesting to see if Alvarado will be forced to put the ball in the air more than weeks past. That being said, I really like this Knights team. I have made that no secret over the past few weeks, and I think they might be the most underrated team in Division 3. That being said, I will take them to advance to the quarterfinals. Give me Givy Alvarado, give me Rudy Rodriguez, give me Joe Angel Perez, give me the Knights of Holy Cross. Walker Lott, your thoughts?
Yeah, Holy Cross is a very historic program in private school. You know, they've been a very good squad for a long time in San Antonio. And I think it's this time. I think it's their time. I think Bay Area is a very, very good squad. But I think Holy Cross is a much better squad. I really, really like Rudy Rodriguez. He's dripped out every single week. He's got the armbands. He's ready to play. And I really do like Gibby as the quarterback. I think he's a really solid player. I think these guys get it done this week and go into probably playing Cypress next week and a rematch of like the past two semifinalists in Division 3 for the past couple of years. So give me Holy Cross.
I love it. Ryan Schroeder, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know what I think, honestly. If you want to know what I think, I don't know what I think. I'm looking up. I'm kind of infatuated with the fact of just looking up where all these places are being played. Weimer, really? Waymar? Where is that?
Weimar?
Like it's in between Houston and San Antonio. Like might as well be closer to College Station than anything else.
What's the population of Weimar?
Okay, hold on. Weimar. We're
That
gonna
makes
get
me
a
curious.
population check of Weimar, Texas, for anyone wondering. 2,000. For anybody that's
Nice.
wondering. Yeah, so the football field looks a little interesting, but you know what? That's okay. You know, Weimar is a place where would I rather be playing at Weimar or Texas or what's it called Arlington in the Ranger Stadium. Weimar Ranger Stadium. Okay. Anyways, yeah, Holy Cross is definitely the better team here in my opinion. I think you can tell me right now that yeah, this team is really talented. I think I have 8-1. I think I have here 8-1 Holy Cross over Bay Area Christian. Heck of a season for Bay Area Christian. Only loss was coming to Pantego and a bombshell of Cypress Christian, my best friends. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Holy Cross here. I'm not confident, but there are crazier things have happened in Weimar, Texas.
They probably have. I'm going to go after this episode and look up the history of Weimar, whatever it's called, Texas, and just see what things have gone on there. See if there's any voodoo happening here in this matchup. Moving on. Next time we're going to cover Antonian versus Nolan Catholic. Both me and Walker Lott will be live on scene at this game on Saturday, covering it. Very excited. Haven't seen Antonian or Nolan in person yet. Very excited for that. I think it's going to be fantastic. Nolan Catholic, surprisingly, is a 7.5-point favorite in this game. In this matchup, the 9-1 Apaches will meet the 3-8 Vikings. It has always been assumed that the Northern Division of D1 is significantly more loaded than the South, hence the spread in favor of Nolan. Even with that factored into the equation, I think Antonian is the clear favorite here. A 38-35 upset last week against one of the most talented teams in the state proved the legitimacy of the Apaches. And behind Toscano, Gonzalez, Moreno, and Strode, I cannot bet against Antonian here. Nolan certainly has the talent to win this one, and they looked apart against Concordia in round 1, but I think this is the year of the Apache. Walker Lott, your thoughts?
You made me not be prepared. 1 second.
I mean, we're gonna have these in post anyways, so.
But now I want to. I want to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Where is mine? There it goes. Yeah, give me Antonian. Yeah, give me Antonian in this one. I can't believe I just had that so quickly. But yeah, I really think this Antonian team is really, really good. I think Nolan is a solid squad. And, you know, there's a reason the firepower always in the Division 1 in the North are up there for a reason. But I think there's too much firepower on this Antonian squad. And after beating, in my eyes, that I saw in person, a really, really good St. Thomas team, I can't bet against them. And so give me Antonian prep.
Interesting. Ryan Schroeder, your thoughts?
I don't have the right one. I'm so sorry,
Oh
y'all.
my
I'm
God.
gonna look a little different here. but I have Antonian. Yeah, no, I really am favoring Antonian here. Gosh, this team has been so much of a surprise this year. To be fair, Nolan loses to St. Thomas earlier this year, 45-28. Not that we've already said that none of that applies, but it is good to know that Antonian's last win is against, in the upset of all upsets against St. Thomas. Can they ride off that firepower? Everyone wants to know, because I feel like everyone wants to see that Antonian versus Prestonwood matchup in the semifinals. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And we'll see what happens here, man. Antonian needs to win this game though. I'm excited. But yeah, I have Antonian here. Nolan is a good team. Honestly, they play in that district. It's hard. And honestly, you're gonna lose a lot of games when in your non-district schedule you play College Station, St. Thomas, Bel Air, Dallas Christian, and All Saints, even though they won the All Saints game. You're gonna lose a lot of games, right? So Nolan Catholic challenged themselves this year. Lots of losses, but overall, still not a bad team. I think Antonian gets it here though.
Very interesting. We will be interested to see how that game plays out on Saturday. Moving on into the final game that we are going to preview. And honestly, maybe the most excited I've been for a game all season. Regents versus Fort Bend Christian Academy. The spread, another surprising one. Regents only a 2.5-point favorite. Out in LaGrange this Friday evening, an undefeated Knight squad will face off against the red-hot Eagles of Fort Bend Christian Academy. Fort Bend has finally found their offense, and following some systematic adjustments, put up 69 in a single half against Hyde Park last week. The re-addition of Domino has served the Eagles well and will certainly make this contest interesting. However, Regents is still the top dogs. Murphy, Wilburn, Smith, and company held Lutheran South to 6 points in round one and still appear to be the favorites in D2. This matchup, as I've mentioned, is incredibly difficult for me to predict. At full strength, I think Fort Bend boasts one of the best offenses in this state, hands down. But Regents hangs its hat on an elite defense, only allowing 8 points per game. I think this has private school game of the year written all over it, and I'm getting fired up to cover it the more I talk about it. But regarding my pick, I'm going with Regents in this spot. They're tried and true and have performed much more consistently than Fort Bend up to this point. But if the Eagles offense continues its recent firepower, we are in for some top tier football here this week. Walker Lott.
This is going to be a good one. I'm excited for you to go watch this out in LaGrange. I think, kind of like Fort Worth All Saints, maybe, like we said, Fort Bend is kind of clicking on all cylinders right now, and that's what you needed to do is playoffs. So I'm picking Regents. Somehow I think Regents people don't like me as much, or they come at me a lot, and I've realized this. And because of this, I still like Regents. I was one of the first people that came down there and interviewed you guys. I knew about y'all. I supported y'all since the beginning. Because of this, I'm going to go Regents. I think they're a really good squad. Quinn Murphy's a really good player. Visited a lot of colleges, even already as a freshman. I really, really like. I like Jacob Wilburn. I like Adrian Verdict. I like Walker Petrie. I like that offensive line. I like Chili Sire. I like a lot of those guys. I like Whitfield Powell. This team is a really, really good squad. And because of that, I think they have talent every single position group. And because of that, I think they beat Fort Bend in this one. I'm gonna definitely tune in and watch this game when I can, when I'm covering my game. But because this could be one for the game of the ages, especially if Fort Bend is firing all cylinders. But because Fort Bend has not always done that, and you never know what Fort Bend you're gonna get, give me Regents in this one.
It really does boil down to a matter of consistency here pregame. Ryan Schroeder, for the last time this episode, your pick, sir.
I think everyone's already heard who I think is going to be making their way to Waco for state. So I think it's pretty easy to say that, people know that I'm going to pick Regents here. Very high on this team. And they're undefeated for a reason. I don't know. Actually, There needs to be a count of how many undefeated teams there are because I think Regents. Who else is undefeated? Is it just Regents in all of private school?
That we cover, I think, off the top of my head, I think so. Liberty?
Yeah,
No, Liberty's
Lost
lost.
it. Yeah, they
lost
lost it.
first game of the year to Prestonwood.
Yeah,
Dallas
we're
Christian
gonna say
lost the fourth. Yeah, well, we can just make
yeah.
stuff up though if we want to, and just say that Regents is the only undefeated team.
But yeah, to our knowledge,
Yeah.
in the teams we cover, Regents is the only undefeated team.
But yeah, with that said, how can you go against them? How can you go against the Regents team like that? Great second round game though, by the way. Great second round game.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I have Regents here. 2.5 is the spread though. Yeah, give me a little bit more than 2.5. Give me about like a touchdown or 10 points. I think Regents can separate themselves a little bit more than that. But yeah, overall, Regents is proving to be that team. You got to win here, and and then you got to make your way out of the South. Overall, Regents has been one of the best teams. We know they're the best team, one of the best teams. I got Regents.
That is fair. Yeah, I'm so excited to cover this game. You know, for some reason, just watching Fort Bend in the playoffs has always served me very well. And I'm going to be excited to see if they make this a game on Friday, because if they're in it late in the third quarter, early in the fourth, I think we could be in for some really surprising stuff. But my pick is still Regents. I'm still sticking to that. However, that is actually all the content we have to cover for this episode. Boys, it is a miracle that we landed this podcast without just crashing miserably, because I think both me and Walker are starting to slowly die here. So Walker Lott, I will turn to you.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on the upcoming slate in private school football.
I'm going to leave it with this, because I think at the end of the day, you want the hardware. And thank you to our friends. I was just reading through this thank you to our friends at LSCSN. 7 of the 32 TAS 11-man teams remaining in the playoffs have not made it to a title game. Antonian, Fort Worth All Saints, Fort Bend Christian, TWCA, San Antonio Holy Cross, Central Texas Christian out of Temple, and Tomball Rose Hill. For those teams, that's what you're striving for, to get to that state championship game and ultimately win it. I did on a little rant last week about how important playoffs is. And, winning your first game is amazing. It's more than I ever did in high school. But what you want is the thing where you can hold it up at the end of the day and win that trophy. So hopefully y'all, stay focused, stay through the thing, and just another business trip the rest of the week. Excited for all these games again. I love high school football. I love Texas high school football. I love private school football, and I'm excited for another week of it.
Truly
Get
a beautiful
pumped.
thing.
Get pumped, man. Walker Lott is getting you. He's pumping you. He's pumping you up when he feels sick and everything else is off the haywire right now. Hitting the haywire, hitting the hay. I don't know.
Yeah, it's close enough. Ryan Schroeder, close us out here. Your thoughts on the upcoming slate in private school football and any other miscellaneous ramblings you have.
Yeah. If anybody's still listening, basketball is back in season. We'll figure that stuff out eventually. But football wise, I'll see if I can get home this weekend. Hopefully I can from Oklahoma. You might see me at one of your games. Haven't decided. I'm not going to make anything public yet about where I'm going. But we'll see if I can get home. And if I am home, look out for some fire flicks, because I'll be taking some photos wherever I'm at. So
look out for those. They will be on the gallery section of txpsmedia.com. We are still uploading content to that weekly. Go check it out. It's a fun time. Ryan does a fantastic job. But that being said, and barring any other additional comments from either Ryan or Walker is now getting us copyright struck from YouTube, so there's no way we can monetize this. I don't care. Pump it up. We got to pump it up. We will see you in the next episode. See you later.
3, 2, 1.